Hey everybody, I am back and I am back to tell you about a book that is coming soon and that you have to get. It's called Kill the Queen. Have I got your interest yet? Stick around and I'll tell you all about it. The day of the Royal Massacre started out like any other. That is the first line in Kill the Queen by Jennifer Estep. Kill the Queen is the first book in the Crown of Shards series. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be a series. It's by Jennifer Estep, who's one of my favorite authors. If you saw my vlog about my favorite urban fantasy authors, you have heard me talk about her and her Elemental Assassin series, and how even though I'm not a big YA fan, I actually read her YA books because I loved her work so much. Now, same goes for Kill the Queen. I'm not really an epic fantasy fan. I've never been one. I always have a very hard time getting through the first couple of chapters, and then I just never seem to get past them for some reason. I love the blurbs, I love the covers, but I've never gotten past them for some reason. This one, however, although it did start a little slow with a lot of world building, which I guess is actually necessary in an epic fantasy, really, right? You want to build the world and paint the picture, so to tell. I trusted this author because I've loved everything of hers that I've ever read. So I trusted this story to be good because of her. And I'm so fucking glad because it kicks ass. I can't wait and for you to get your hands on it and get hooked on it like me, and for the next one to come because it's going to be good. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the story. It is about Evie, as her friends call her. Her name is Everly. She is 17th in line for the crown. And like I said, the first page starts with you knowing there's going to be a royal massacre. So, of course, it's a little slow to start. You get to know Evie and the world and who has powers. There's magiers and morphs and masters and stuff like that, and mutts. And Evie's a mutt, which is basically somebody who doesn't have a major magic power. Like, her magic is an extra strong sense of smell. Lots of mutts have extra strength or extra speed and stuff like that, but not like the magiers, or I guess they call them. They have like lightning or fire from their fingertips, and stone masters who can work with metals and stones and things like that. Anyway, so it starts, and of course the Royal Massacre happens, and the queen is killed. And the princess, who happens to be somebody that, like any Cinderella story or princess story or whatever, there's an evil princess and a happy princess or whatever. But the evil queen takes over basically, and they try to kill Evie, but she survives. And she survives and goes into hiding and becomes part of a gladiator troupe. Now, this, of course, is part of my love for this world. They have gladiator troops and people fight, not always to the death. Sometimes there's what they call a black ring match, which is to the death. But everybody they love to fight and fuck, and like that's just, a world I could get behind. Magic world I can get behind. But there's intrigue and there's politics and all this other kind of stuff that happens in it. And I don't want to get into too much of it because I don't want to give anything away. It's bad to give a review and not give things away, but suffice to say, Evie, it is the first thing that struck me about this story. Like others of Jennifer Estep's, there's food. Their heroine has some sort of a connection to food. This one, she cooks pies, and that's how she gets in with gladiator troops, is by convincing them that she has something to offer, because they have one of their guys has a sweet tooth and she can, cook pies better than their not good chef or whatever right now. But if you've read like the Elemental Assassins, then you know how much cooking and sandwiches and foods means to Jin. It's the same, so it didn't surprise me. It's just a quirk of this author that made me feel at home in the story. Number two is that it's kind of a coming of age story for a 28-year-old. The main character Evie is 28 years old, and but by not coming of age, but coming into her own. You know, she's always, like I said, 17th in line, so she gets stuck with like royal duties of doing things, but she doesn't really have any royal power. So as the book goes on, you see her grow, and you see her, like, here, let me read this to you. Let me read an excerpt to you. There's In that moment, I made a silent vow to myself. If I somehow survived this, I would never be weak and helpless and useless again. I would never let anyone ever make me feel this way again. And I especially would never let anyone hurt the people that I cared about ever again. Make sense? So this is somebody who has stood by and basically eaten shit because she doesn't have the power, and because she's an orphan and so far down in the royal line and everything. But she's getting to the point where she has realized that she has the inner strength to do things and to fight back and protect, and not just herself, but those she cares about. And it ends up that those she cares about are also the people of her kingdom. So she has to go and kill the queen in order to become the queen. Make sense? Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't want to put any spoilers out there, except that book 2 is called, I do believe book 2 is called, or Protect the Prince. I can't remember. But when you read it, I think I know who the prince in it they're talking about is, and I can't wait, because I'm hoping that means that there might be a little more romance in the next one. So, it has food, fighting, intrigue, magic, and assassins and gladiators. Come on, you have to go out and get the story. Get the story. Look at the cover. It's perfect for the book. If you like adventure and intrigue and action, this is definitely a book for you, even if you've never read any of Jennifer Estep's other work. But I highly recommend you read her other stuff too. So that's just my quick and dirty review of Kill the Queen, and it releases on September 2nd. Go get it, review it, tell the author how much you love it, tell everybody how much you love it, because it's worth it. See you again soon. Bye.